continuing today here on ETBU Extra. Thank you for clicking in at ETBU on the ETBU Sportsnet at goetbtigers.com. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow, the ETBU Tiger basketball team on the road to play University of Ozarks, and then they finish the road schedule Saturday against UT Dallas. Hello, I'm Mike Midkiff, and joining us now is the head Tiger baseball coach, Jared Hood. And the Tigers opened their season last week on the road. It wasn't a short road trip. It was to Orange, California to play Chapman University. And, Coach Hood, the first question I got to ask, how do you get a baseball team from ETBU all the way to California? I know you got to fly, but it's got to be some logistic things you got to work out.
A lot of prayers and a lot of luck. As a head coach, and you're talking about taking 30 kids, to the airport and all the way to California, a lot of things can go wrong, and you got to make flights and you got to have buses to pick you up and to take you places, and everything has to be right on time and flow systematically. So, but the guys did a good job, did a good job listening and doing what they were told to do, being where we had to be at certain times, and everything just went as smooth and as it could possibly go, and gave us a good chance to compete when we got out there.
Well, I'm curious, how did you get Chapman on your schedule?
Well, they came here last year, and part of the deal was for them, in order for them to spend the money to come down here last year, we had to return the trip, this year. So we were just, returning the favor and going out and competing.
On your baseball team, did you have any first-time flyers?
I did have some first-time flyers.
Did they handle it well?
They made some pretty funny faces at takeoff. Cody Pierce, one of our young pitchers, he, I remember just him looking in the aisle and was just like, like what's going on here? But it, everybody handled it well, and it was a good trip.
If you've ever flown before, it gets pretty scary if you come into landing, they start moving those flaps and things start creaking. And if you've ever flown before, you go, what is that? Right. And for seasoned travelers, it's just the flaps moving and getting ready to land. Well, let's talk about the series that you had with Chapman University. First game up out the bat was on Friday. And first of all, there's a 2-hour time difference. Did you put everybody on California time while you was there or stay on Central Time?
Well, we tried to stay on the same, regardless of the time, we tried to stay on the same schedule. And I wanted all of our guys, I thought it was essential for us when we got out there to get done what we needed to get done as far as a workout and then dinner, and then get to bed early and wake up early. The same, on the same schedule was now. I think we had lights out at 9 o'clock Thursday night, and everybody was up about 6:30 the next morning. So we were able to stay on the same schedule and the same rhythm. So it didn't affect us too bad. Now when we got home. I know personally Sunday and Monday I was done, but the guys have done a nice job.
Well, Coach Hood, in that first game, you score 5 runs over the first and second innings, and you never look back, and you win the season opener. Kind of talk about some of the highlights in that game and that first Tiger victory.
It was kind of uncharacteristic from what they were telling me out in California. The wind was blowing from a little bit different direction. We had some guys that squared the ball up, and the ball was flying pretty well. But we got a good pitching performance from Ernest Perez, kept us in the game the whole time. And then Jimmy Russo to close the deal out at the end. Timely hits, hitting in situations, 2 out runs. So we really had a solid approach at the plate. And really did a nice job offensively. Defensively, we had an errorless ball game. So that also led to to us having a chance to win as well.
Perez, of course, the winning pitcher for the Tigers. He goes 5 innings, strikes out 5, and he had some good bats as well. Senior Tyler Bates, what can he not do? 3 for 3 in the ball game, scored 5 runs, 2 RBIs, and 1 home run from little Tyler Bates.
Yeah, well, he's a soft 140. Is Tyler Bates? He's one of those athletes, man. And we were talking in the coaches meeting a couple of days ago about how do you replace a Tyler Bates, and I don't think you can ever go out and plan to replace a Tyler Bates. He's a kid that hopefully you can get 2 or 3 other guys that will equal his productivity, but just his athletic ability and what he provides for our offense and defense, as he's a Gold Glove Award winner last year. it's unbelievable. And so we're looking to get as much out of him this last season as we can.
I agree with you, Coach. Coach, good, our guest here on ETB Extra. You win the season opener against Chapman out in Orange, California. Come back to play a doubleheader. In the first game, you mount a comeback, but you fall short 4-3. But you got to be pleased with the effort that your team did coming back there late in the ball game.
Yeah, the fact that we were never actually out of that game, we had a solid pitching performance by Kyle Lowson, our junior college transfer, gave us a chance to win the ball game, and that's really all you can ask for. Now, offensively, we had to tighten some things up a little bit. Our approaches were pretty big. The ball was flying out there in California, and guys were trying to make the ball fly. Well, their pitcher, to his credit, was 3 pitches for strikes. He was pounding his own, and if you get too big on a guy like that, you're not going to be successful. And they did a good job keeping us off balance. So we had some adjustments to make for Game 3.
Now, when you come into Game 3, wow, 15 runs scored by the Tigers to their 12. You were probably glad to get out of California with that win.
We were really glad to get out of California with the win. It was one of those trips that, they're a good team. They came in here and beat us pretty good last year, 2 games. Still close ball games, but, they took the series from us. And, they're a good ball club. Won 20-plus games last year. It was a type of series that we could have easily left California 3-0 and just as easily left California 0-3. So we were able to snag out a couple, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Good performances with the bat. Dennis Dowd with 4 for 3, 4 RBIs. Zach Compton, 5 for 3, 2 RBIs. Connor Combs, 3 for 2, 2 RBIs. And he scored 3 runs. But I know in a game like that, when you win 15-12, you use a lot of pitchers, don't you?
Yeah, we did, especially this game. And I don't care, what level of high school baseball these kids play at. Whenever you get to college and you play that first college series, you get that first opportunity to pitch, or you get that first opportunity to hit. There's a lot of nerves. It's a pretty big stage, and and we faced some of that early on in Game 3. And from I guess the 3rd inning, 4th inning, it was all hands on deck, and we rode everybody till we couldn't ride them anymore, and then we'd throw another one out there. And and the big thing was for me is that those guys continued to give us opportunities to be successful and a chance to win. So. Kudos to our pitching staff for that.
Used 5 pitchers, and that win in that 3rd game of the series, and you win the series 2-1. Winning pitcher was Jordan O'Banion. He was in there probably when they got the head of the score, and he kept it, right?
Yeah, well, I believe it because I think we were ahead the whole game. But I think the 5th inning
he was the pitcher of record.
He was the pitcher of record for the game. So he did a nice job in keeping us there, and we did the rest offensively.
Visiting with Coach Jared Hood, the head baseball coach here at East Texas Baptist University, here today on ETBU Extra. And Coach, I know that just like any coach does, as you approach the season, you have goals that you set as a coaching staff, goals as you set as a team. Could you share some of those with us as you head on into this 2016 campaign?
Well, athletically, we want to do the best that we can. We always want to put ourselves in successful situations. But the biggest thing is to control what we can control. We can control how we approach the game. Our intensity during the game. We can't, once the ball leaves our hand or the ball leaves the bat, we don't always control where it goes or what happens to it. So, but as long as we're taking care of our business up to those points, we feel pretty confident that we're always going to have a chance to be successful. One thing about this group is, last year we tasted some success in the conference tournament. We won a couple games there and had a chance to possibly compete for a championship. And last year it was more, okay, we're happy to be there. Now this year, the maturity of our team has kind of taken over, and these guys are hungry for more success. But more importantly, they're willing to do what it takes to taste that success.
Well, I kind of want to expand on that a little bit. How much confidence did it give your team last year going as far as you did in the conference tournament, and those players who played in it come back this year? How much confidence did it give them heading into the season?
Well, most of our players on that team last year were sophomores. So for us to be able to compete like we did, after that first game against Texas Dallas, you just kind of saw a demeanor of our team just change, and and it was almost a sense of belong. Okay, we do belong here. We can play with anybody out there, and and that was really important for our guys to understand that we're in this position for a reason. And so now it's let's take that and let's build on it and let's continue to get better. So it's been really good.
You have a young team, a lot of underclassmen. Kind of highlight your seniors for me today here on the show.
We've got 4 seniors, range anywhere from Jimmy Russo to, he's the guy on the mound that you always want to try to get the ball to. He's got a competitive edge that's second to none. But he's pretty good at keeping things loose in the dugout and loose off the field, and so he does a good job. Ernest Perez has really come into his own this year. Right now he's one of our starting pitchers. Gave us a chance to win the game, game 1. So he's done a nice job, and so we've got quite a few seniors that are helping us out.
Tanner Matthews and Tanner
Matthews, he's kind of the caretaker of us all. He controls things, off and on the field. And Tyler Bates, like I said, can't say enough about Tyler Bates as an athlete.
Well, Coach, as we look to your schedule this weekend, you've got a series coming up against the University of Dallas. Doubleheader on Saturday. Kind of talk about that ball game and kind of give us a preview of what you expect when you travel.
University of Dallas are always going to be tough, especially when you're going to the University of Dallas. Weather-wise is always a big factor there, what direction the wind's blowing. And they're a scrappy bunch. I've watched their games online. They run the bases really well. They hit in situations, and they've got an arm or two that really has held some teams at bay pretty good. So it'll be a good test for us, and we're going to have to come out and play our game.
Your first home game is next Tuesday as you host Jarvis Christian College. Did all the rains we have hurt Woodsfield or help Woodsfield?
Well, we were out there yesterday. Just playing pretty good. Our consistency in the infield and our grass is pretty nice right now. So, I'm sure here in a couple months with us being on it every day, it's just going to start getting beat up. But, it got a break last week with us being gone. So now we're ready to get back after it.
This is just a question off the top of my head, Coach Hood. How relaxing is it for a baseball coach to go out there and move the dirt on the infield?
Well, it depends on what time of year it is. During season, it's all anything you do is pretty stressful. But I enjoy working on the field. It's one thing that I just like to try to take pride in everything that you do, and I happen to be a pretty good dirt mover. So, as we found out some of the community service stuff, they handed me a rake, and it was like, oh, well, never done this before. So.
I remember that. The deputy manager, they gave you a rake, and you know how to do that. You can do dirt work. Well, Coach, any final words before we let you go here on ETB Extra?
No, just encourage everybody next week to come out and check us out next Tuesday against Jarvis Christian and the following weekend against Schreiner University. And hopefully we'll put on a good show for you.
Well, Coach Hood, thank you for your time today on ETB Extra. Of course, we'll see you again next week as we talk Tiger baseball. Don't go away. We got more coming up on ETB Extra as we broadcast live from the Ornella Student Center on the campus of East Texas Baptist University.